Seconds out, Ayman Khan here with good company, Carl Frampton. Carl, sir, how you doing?
Doing all right, mate. Not bad.
Good to see you. Good to speak to you again. Joyce versus Zhang. Good fight. A fight that, look, boxing fans will complain sometimes, but given the position that he's in, this is a good opponent for where he wants to get to in the future.
Absolutely. I don't know. No one can complain about this fight. Joe is, I think, ready for the top guys in the division. And when I say that, I mean Fury and Usyk. I think he's ready to fight them guys now. He could have sat and waited and had a real gimme fight. This is a fight that I think he wins, but it's a tough fight for him. Zhang's a southpaw. He's big. He's 19 stone plus. He can really fight. Tough, durable, fit as well. It's a cracking fight, really is. So you have to give Joe a lot of credit for taking this one.
Joe obviously wants to get to the world title contention. The belt's held right now by Fury and Usyk. Which fight do you feel Joyce has the best chance in of the two champions?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I think he can beat both guys. Whether he beats them or not, that's a different thing. I think Usyk causes him some problems early on, but Joe's engine, I think he'll get to Usyk at some point and he'll start to win rounds and potentially maybe even stop him. His engine is unbelievable and his durability is unbelievable. We saw a fight between Usyk and Joyce in the WSB over 5 rounds, and Joe got his head boxed off for a couple of rounds, and then he came into the fight and he won a couple of rounds near the end. So it was a reasonably close fight over 5 rounds. Imagine that expanded over 12 rounds. Yeah, Joe has a chance to beat Fury and Usyk. I think he probably has a slightly better chance of beating Usyk though.
There's always been talk of Joyce and Anthony Joshua. That talk has ramped up since Joshua's been on his comeback trail. And there's always talk of the sparring that they used to do back in 2016. And the people in those sparring say that Joyce used to be terrified of sparring Joshua at that time. Joshua used to get the best of it. Is that the case, do you feel now? Would a fighter carry that mentality of being afraid now, considering where the two fighters are in their career at this current point?
I'm not sure Joe Joyce has ever been terrified of fighting anybody, never mind sparring anybody, so I don't quite believe that. I imagine that AJ was the number one in the amateurs when he was there, and I imagine he would have had some success with Joe in the amateur format, shorter rounds, or not shorter rounds, but shorter fights. I think if you're AJ, look, forget AJ for a second. I think if you're anyone in the heavyweight division, you don't really want to fight Joe Joyce because he gives you a horrible night. He's just a horrible guy to fight. Like, so fit, shots bounce off his head, seem to have no effect on him. I think that AJ's probably hoping to get a big fight with maybe Fury or Usyk or maybe even a Wilder or someone like that. I think Joe is a difficult fight for anybody. If I was AJ, I probably wouldn't advise him to fight Joe Joyce right now.
Heavyweight scene is very exciting, except the fights aren't happening unless you believe the rumours that are going around right now about a heavyweight tournament happening in Saudi Arabia. Do you feel that's likely? I mean, the likelihood of all those on the same card doesn't seem quite likely.
No, it doesn't seem likely. I don't believe any rumours in boxing. We were all sure that Usyk and Fury was going to fight, and it's fell apart. Boxing's a strange sport at times. I know there's a lot of money in Saudi Arabia, but all the top guys fighting in a heavyweight tournament out there, it's going to cost an extortionate amount of money. I know the Saudis have it. There's a lot of egos involved as well, and people want a little bit more than the other guy, and that's just boxing. But I'll believe it when I see it.
I'll brush through a couple of things because I know you're a busy man. Look, Amir Khan recently tested positive for performance-enhancing substance, is now serving a ban. It feels like this is creeping in more and more. Did you share the shock and disappointment of seeing someone like Amir, potentially, he says he's innocent, but having had those substances found in the system?
Yeah, look, I'm shocked and disappointed. Amir was from the same kind of, he's a much better amateur than I was, but in the amateur setup, in the high-performance setups in England and Ireland, we were always told that everything has to have a sport-approved logo on it before you take it, and you need to be aware of what's going into your body at all time, and over-the-counter, medication, whatever. You can't just go and buy anything. It needs to be tested. So I was shocked and disappointed. I like the fact that he's failed the test, and he's just, although he's retired, he's received a 2-year ban, which should happen. You should be banned if you fail a test, whether that gets into your system accidentally or not. And looking and trying to read between the lines, I think there was a couple of tests passed, one failed and then another one passed. So I think because of that and the tiny amount that was in his system, probably he's done something stupid and taken something he shouldn't have taken, and they're saying it would have had no benefit on him to take the little amount that was in his system. From the outside looking in, it looks like a silly mistake, but silly mistakes need to be punished. And although he's retired, what should happen is a 2-year ban on anybody, at least minimum, if they fail a drug test. And that's what happened. Amir Khan failed the drug test and he got a ban.
I feel the same way about Conor Benn. He's looking to fight over in a different jurisdiction, maybe getting a license in America. Do you feel that he should be fighting right now, or should he kind of see his process through?
I think he needs to sort it out still with the British Border Control and get that sorted out. It's all a mess, isn't it, really? And it would be a shame that Conor Benn, the facts are he failed 2 drug tests, so he should serve a ban. However, if he failed the drug test by contamination or whatever, that's still not good enough. You should serve a ban. It's just I don't know. He failed the drug test and looks like he's going to be rewarded with a fight against a living legend who's coming out of retirement, who's about 45 years of age, who he probably beats up because he's a lot younger and fresher, and he makes a mountain of money. It's almost like he's getting rewarded for failing the drug test, which I don't agree with, but it's still a mess that I would love to hopefully gets it sorted out.
Final couple of things for me. Massive fight in Ireland, Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron. A lot of people saying Katie Taylor is slipping a little bit. Do you see that? Is she still the favourite in this fight? What do you think?
I think she's probably a favourite because where it is, it's in Ireland, and fighting at home means a lot. It will mean a lot to Katie that this is the first time as a professional she'll have fought in Ireland. The atmosphere is going to be incredible. I mean, I've been involved in some amazing atmospheres myself. I've been at fights with amazing atmospheres. I think this will be the best atmosphere that I will ever have been involved in as a fan. So that'll play a part in the fight, but I think you have to give Katie so much credit for taking this fight, because by all means it looks like the Amanda Serrano fight's going to happen later in the summer at Croke Park. She could have sat it out and waited, or she could have fought literally anybody and sold the 3 arena out. That's how much of a name she is. But instead, she goes up a division against the best fighter a weight above. You have to give her so much credit for that. It's a hard fight for both girls. Chantel Cameron's a very good fighter, a different fighter than Katie, and that she's very strong and fit. A bit more rugged than Katie, who has a little bit more finesse than Chantel. Hard fight for both girls, but you have to give Katie all the credit in the world for taking it. And what she could have done as well was probably try to get Chantel down to meet in the middle of lightweight and light welterweight. But no, she says, no, we'll fight you at light welterweight. Unbelievable, and fair play to her. And it's the type of person she is. She's a lovely person, a pioneer of the women's sport, and a hero to so many people.
Slight little controversy being that Scotney was removed from the card. Now, no real winners in this situation, but Scotney still gets a title fight just a little bit later down the line, but it puts a little bit of cloud over the fight. What was your take on that, being that it's because of a previous relationship between Cameron and Shane McGuigan?
Yeah, look, I know how Chantel feels when she's when she's around the McGuigans. She doesn't like it. She is anxious. And this is the biggest fight of her career, and there was a big fallout between them. I don't think a lot of people know exactly what happened. I may know a little bit more than most, but I think it was the right thing for Chantel. Although Scotney's been stuck in the middle of this, and it probably looks to be unfair for her, everything needs to be perfect for Chantel in the biggest fight of her career. And if having the McGuigans around is going to upset you on fight week, you got to remember, she could have shared a lift with them coming down the stairs and it made her nervous. She could be anxious about leaving the room and bumping into these guys in the lobby of the hotel or whatever. I think she made the right decision, and although it's unfair for Ellie because she wanted to fight on a big card, she still gets a chance to fight for a world title. But Chantel has to look after number one, and it was absolutely the right decision to make.
That's a conversation we can develop for another time. I need a final prediction from you. Big fight coming up next weekend, Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia.
Can't wait for it. Looking forward to it. Prediction, I think Tank's probably a favourite in the fight, probably rightfully so. I have a feeling if Garcia can stick to a game plan, I imagine his game plan is going to be punch long and fast. Don't get caught in the middle distance. When Tank gets close, hold him, try and spoil it, and then get back out. Stay away from middle distance completely because you could get knocked out. If he sticks to a strict, rigid game plan, he could win the fight. But Tank can turn your lights out at any point in a fight. So I'm actually going to predict a Ryan Garcia points win.
Oh, good prediction. Putting your neck on the line there. Pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for speaking to Seconds Out, sir. All the best.